Welcome back, everybody, to the Financial Advisors Workshop. This is the show where we talk to great financial advisors in America to talk to them about how they run their practice and how they serve clients and how we as a collective group serve the investing public. And we have Aaron Karras with us today from the great state of Texas. Aaron, welcome to the Financial Advisors Workshop.
Glad to be here.
Well, great. Well, we had a really interesting discussion before we started our conversation today, Aaron. And you have a very interesting background, and we want to hear about what you're doing today. But could you tell us, how did you get into financial advising in general? What was the progression? Let's talk football. You're at Baylor. Let's hear that story.
Yeah, I thought I would be a football coach my whole life. I thought I was either playing or coaching. My dad was a football coach my whole life. It's all I knew from birth is how to play football, really. Like, there was no political discussions in my life. There was no investment discussions in my life. It was all football and sports and school. School's important. They were both educators, but how I got in the profession, I was playing arena football and I came home in the off season and my dad handed me his 403B statement. You know what a 403B is, right? It's turn the tax code book, 401k, 403B, next page over. I looked at my dad's 403B and he was 59 at the time, right? And I said, okay, Dad. I looked at it, not knowing a whole lot. And I said, Dad, why do you have all your assets in one single fund? In fact, why do you have all your assets in one single small cap fund? And my dad looked at me with a kind of a wide-eyed look, rubbed his forehead and said, Aaron, what the hell is a small cap fund? I was like, oh my God, Dad. I was like, what do you mean what's a small cap fund? I said, A, it's a very risky asset class, right? And you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket, like the old the old saying goes. So, he went on to tell me that he has no idea what a small cap fund is, and your mom is the exact same account. So I got both of their accounts and I called the rep. I kind of gave them a piece of my mind and what I thought they were doing. There was kind of robbery, right? And I found out why that happens, right? I found out those guys got paid one time when they opened those accounts, and nobody ever called my parents for 20 odd years after that, right? Wow. So that got me interested. Why is this happening, right? Why? Like, why is this happening? So I took them the cash, let them in cash. I didn't know anything about the industry. And that was in early 2007. And I kind of forgot about it. That rolled in 2008. And lo and behold, the market has crashed, right? Like everybody here knows the big financial crisis in 2008. Well, again, God was shining on my family to sitting in cash. So I started looking at it again. And I called that company back up that the money was sitting in. It was actually AXA Equitable is who it was, and found out exactly what to do. And I got a rep on the phone and ended up getting my parents back in the market pretty much the perfect time. Well, they called me back, I don't know, a couple weeks later. I found out who my parents were. My dad is pretty well known in the district here in Spring. He was the head football coach there for over 25 years. So just naturally here in Houston, Texas, if you're the football coach, everybody knows who you are. And I followed behind him. I was the quarterback of the school, so everybody knew who I was as well. So when they found out who I was on the phone, they offered me a job kind of on the spot. Like, hey, if you really want to help people and you have the passion for helping coaches and teachers in the investment world, we can help you. Like, we can help you get licensed, Series 7, 66, 1. Basically, I told me to take a hike is what I did. And then about 2 weeks later, I moved back into my parents. My parents like, go get a job, get out of our house. So I ended up calling that company back and I took the role. And I got all my license that I needed to do that, which was hard, right? I had no idea I wasn't an economics major or a finance major in college. So I was a communications major. So options and bond derivatives. Also, I had no idea what that stuff was going into my Series 7. When I was still in the middle of playing arena football, studying for my Series 7, right? I was on road trips around the country trying to learn all that stuff. And I actually failed my test the first time I took it because I just had no idea what that stuff was. Went there, started work. I got licensed, started working with teachers. I would go to the teachers' lounge is what I would do. And I would just talk to people as they walked into the teachers' lounge. How you doing today? Do you have a 403B? And they, yes, no. And I would sit down with them and I'd basically take them through my parents' stories, what I would do. And most times it would startle people. Like, I would try to do that on purpose. I wanted to startle them, right? And tell them, hey, I'm going to help you get set up for your 403B. Here's what you're going to use your 403B for. And I'll explain your TRS benefits, their pension benefits, and why it's so important for them to have this side 403B account. And then at the end, I would tell them, hey, I'm not going to be here in 5 years. I'm going to be working with millionaire people so I can make myself my millions that I want to make, right? So you need to understand, Mr. and Mrs. Teacher, you're not the millionaire client. Nobody's going to come beat this door down to try to rebalance your portfolio because there's no money there if these guys rebalance your portfolio. The only time they make money, the only time I'm making money here is today when you put this money in this account. I get one-time contribution for your first contribution. After that, nobody's getting paid. So nobody's going to come help you. So I led with that message and I pound that home every day. And I think people really responded to the honesty of it. Right. And I help
Yep.
people. I have to help some coaches that I knew, right, already, some people that I grew up with. So it was good starting to make a difference and help people in that regards. So that's how I got.
So let's look at the progression.
Yeah.
They were your quarterback at Baylor.
Yep.
What years?
I started there in 2000 and I was starting quarterback there in 02, 03, and a little bit 04.
And then you went to the Arena Football League after that.
I did.
So then right around the time you came out of the Arena League was right when the crash was happening. And that's when you had those conversations with your parents.
Yes. Yep.
Right. So those conversations propelled you to a whole new career.
It did. I had no idea. I had no idea what a financial planner was. I hadn't even heard of a financial planner. Just blind luck.
That's great. But now you're fully trained and you're running, you started in a couple different firms and you've transitioned to an independent firm and your own. So let's hear about that. So now you're in the industry. This is a calling for you. How do you do it? And tell us about the progression in the industry.
Yeah. So I basically put a lot of miles in my car, not a lot of money in my pocket working with teachers, right? It's just not. Unless you're going to be peddling annuities and you're going to be peddling insurance, I just didn't want to do that. Right. I got recruited over to JP Morgan. So I took a banker role at JP Morgan. Again, I took the role and I was told my parents I needed insurance. That's what I needed because I was getting ready to roll off my parents' Cobra. This was happening. I need to get insurance. So I took the role at JP Morgan to go work for the man. I was really opposed to working for the man. I guess I was right out of college. I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm never going to work for the man. That's just not what I wanted to do. But I took the role at JP Morgan to get the insurance. And I started working the downtown branch and I just fell in love with the downtown atmosphere. I had a really good manager and a really good team that I joined. So I won trips all over the world working with JP Morgan. I became the top banker in the Houston region. So did that for, I think, 5 years at JP Morgan. Ended up getting called over to Wells Fargo, which is kind of an odd story. Picked the phone up one day. It was a recruiter. And they said, hey, we're looking for experienced financial planners to move their books over to a big firm here in Houston area. I said, well, I'm your man. I have $100 million under management. They're like, oh, okay, let's interview you. I had nothing under management. I was a banker. So I walked in the interview at Wells Fargo. It was Wells Fargo, who it was. And I said, hey, listen, I'll be honest with you. I lied. I have no money under management. I have zero, actually. I have my Series 7, though, so I can probably walk into an advisor team and help. And the guy told me, hey, I don't like that you didn't tell us the truth, but I really like your gusto, kid. That's what he told me. I like your gusto. He said, let me see what I can do. And he ended up finding a wealth management team here in the Woodlands for me to join. So they put me in a junior broker role. That's what they did. So they gave me, some pennies to come in with a salary the first couple of months to get established. And then I was part of a team, a bigger wealth management team in the Woodlands. So I was split business with one of the senior advisors. Any accounts under 250, I would take run appointments. Anything over that, I would take to him and I would sit in the appointments and just basically sit there and listen to him talk and take notes. And basically what I did is I just mirrored him, like his verbiage, his dress, his dialogue, his everything, right? It was working for him. Like I was going to do the exact thing he did. Like, so I took what he did. I tweaked it a little bit, but he was a big mentor to me here, Mr. Will Murphy here in the Woodlands area. So that's kind of how I got started here. And then Insight Wealth Strategies, after my couple years at Wells Fargo, I got a call from a company called Insight Wealth Strategies. They're a big company in San Ramon, California, which was opening a Houston office, really focusing on Chevron clientele. They managed around $1 billion, around 400 Chevron clients that they already had in California. And they wanted to open a Houston office here in Houston. So they wanted to partner with me. I didn't believe them. Right? You don't believe anybody tells you they're going to set you appointments with Chevron executives all week. You're not going to be able to handle so many appointments we're going to set with you. I was like, yeah, right. But I ended up taking the chance. Like it was a leap of faith, right? Going from a Wells Fargo type firm to an RIA that I'd never heard of in my life. I I did not have the confidence in myself, right? I liked the New York pinstripes, the Yankee pinstripes that Wells Fargo gave me. Like, it gave me confidence. I did not ever think that somebody would hire me not being at that bank, right?
Mhm.
So I took a leap of faith. I joined the Insight team, and man, that was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have a huge book of really, really smart engineer type clientele. They're all Chevron executives. I have a couple of Shell executives I work with as well, but for the most part, it was a lot of Chevron executives. And I got really good at just their benefit packages is what I did. I when I took the job with Insight, I remember I took the role, and a couple of days later, my doorbell rang. It was a UPS worker with a huge box, a huge box. And I was like, oh, what the heck could that be? Right. And so I opened it up, and it was Insight Wealth Strategy hats and shirts and all these things. All right. I was awesome. So then the next day, a package showed up at my house, another huge box of stuff. Answer the door. I open this package up, and it's nothing binder after binder after binder after binder after binder of Chevron documents of all their strategies and their plans and their health insurances and their life insurances and their 401ks and their CRPs and their RRPs and their L tips, and like basically the Chevron language. I learned to speak Chevron language is what I did. Right. And
Nice.
I learned to use their acronyms. And so when I talk to them, I'm using that dialogue is what I'm using. So it gave me instant credibility coming in with those clients, knowing their language. Right. And it helped that we had clients who we were already working with at their firm who was able to give us referrals and recommendations based on our previous experiences. We
Like
ended up being named.
total immersion, right? Total immersion.
It was. So we led with financial planning, right? We wouldn't not even talk about investment. I would never talk about investment. It's crazy. I would come in and I would really lead with planning, and it's retirement planning. Like, people just don't understand. They want quantification is what they want, right? They want you to come in and tell them. Most of the time, the people I work with are super smart people, and they've already done a lot of really good stuff with their stuff. And they just want somebody to come in behind them and tell them, am I doing this correctly? Right. So a lot of my work was, hey, yes, you're doing good. Or maybe, hey, maybe tweak this or maybe work this or option this. Right. So I spent a lot of time just educating, meeting with people, educating, meeting with people, educating. And then all of a sudden, you know, the way oil and gas industry is, boom, big oil and gas goes south. Oil is now $20 a barrel. Chevron just laid off 5,000 people. Well,
Right.
man, all those people are calling me, Aaron, I need to leave Chevron. What can I do?
You,
Oh, boom,
you
boom,
know,
boom. It was a
you need
windfall
help.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to roll. And they're always mad at Chevron. Like, how do I roll my assets out of here? I hate this company now. Let's do something else with it. So it was a,
Did you
yeah.
managed to keep executives, didn't you?
Yep. So
That's great. So the experience you had with your parents and you learned helped create kind of a new focus for you then as you go into this career, and that's more based on education, isn't it?
100%, 100%. And I wasn't fully committed to it. When I worked at Wells Fargo, I wasn't fully committed to the education process. I was so worried about making revenue that it was all about revenue. It was revenue, 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 and new meetings. So the focus was on getting new assets in the door. No matter what you had to do, that's what you did at Wells Fargo. It was very pressure, I guess you would say, as far as just getting new assets in the books and getting revenue,
Mhm.
and on the next one, on the next one, on the next one. Okay, it wasn't until, gosh, I don't know how to explain it. When I started working at Chevron, I really started educating people on PowerPoint slides, right? So when I meet with people now, it's market histories, market fundamentals, market slides from, we're independent advisors like yourself. I'm getting research from Goldman Sachs, from JP Morgan, from Wells Fargo, from
Yeah.
Fidelity, from name it. I'm getting research from everybody you can imagine out there. So I put together nice presentations for my clients. So when I meet with my clients, it's crazy. We never talk about their investments. I think they pretty much, they trust us on what we're doing. They vetted us. But now my meetings with my clients is, hey, here's what the Fed talked about. Here's what happened last time in 1978 when it looked just like this, in 1982 and 87 and 94. And so what I do for my clients is I lay out probabilities that things might happen. Okay. Not, hey, I think this is going to happen. You back yourself in a corner, you start talking like that. So I work with really smart people. Like I told you, hey, here's what's going on in the economy. Here's what's happening. Here's A and B and C options. What do you think? Well, you read this over and let's talk tomorrow, or let's talk next week about what we want to do. So we strategize together with my clients That way it's never, hey, Aaron, you did this, or why did you do this? And, hey, Brian, we talked about this extensively,
Yes.
right? So it's always a joint commitment when we do anything together if we're making moves.
Right.
Okay. But the conversation is that it's not we're gonna buy Apple and we're gonna sell Amazon and we're gonna do that. It's never that. Like it's never about that. It's always my
Right.
clients are very focused on longer term, what we're actually trying to accomplish here. And I try to do a very good job in the beginning when I pick up a new client of really taking them through market histories, right? Literally educating them on the game. I say that a lot is the game. Let me teach you the game you're going to play. You have to know how to play this game to be a good investor here. Okay.
Yeah. That's great. So, what do you do about the markets? Even though you may not discuss it with clients, do you use managers? Are you the manager? How does that all work in your practice?
Yeah. So again, we go back to financial plan. Like, where are we trying to go? All right. What's the goals here? Right. It's a goals based financial plan. Are we trying to retire with $5 million? Are we trying to make our last check bounce? Right. Really set the precedence of trying to know the difference between setting goals and wishes. Right. What's a goal? What's a wish? So we can really make some decisions for clients there. Right. A lot of times I want to pass millions of dollars on. I'm like, well, let's go buy life insurance. Well, that costs $5,000 a year. I don't want to do that. Well, it's a wish then. Right. So we got to kind of press people sometimes to understand the difference between the goals and the wishes out there so we can really start making meaningful changes long term to the financial plan. Okay. Um, I
Nice.
use Insight Wealth Management for my asset management team. For the most part, we have a couple of different strategies that we use. It's my job as the advisor to take the financial plan and build the roadmap on how we're going to do it, right? Whether it's a 65-35, and inside that 65-35, we might use it part of the equity piece, an ETF strategy plugged in with an all cap dividend individual growth strategy with an all cap dividend or a large cap dividend strategy. So I mix and match to put together portfolios for my clients based on the risk tolerances that we have coming through financial planning. And then Insight, we have a CFA over there. We have a really good investment manager over there who's been doing it for quite a long time. So they run the asset management and the sleeves for me. And it's up to me to rebalance it today, change it from 65-35 to 50-50. Let's buy treasuries today. So I'm able to quarterback relationships, right? It's kind of like how I tell people is my role with my clients.
So you're a quarterback and you're quarterbacking their relationship. And then you were obviously a starter in NCAA at Baylor. You went to play professional ball. That's also led you to the NFL, hasn't you? With financials. Yeah. Hear about that.
Yeah. So I joined. I looked and I found out there's an NFL PA program. So the NFL Player Association, they have a program that basically, I don't want to say blesses advisors. It kind of feels like a blessing. They scrub your background. That's a better way to put it. They scrub your background. They scrub your firm. They check your strategies, and they look for a bunch of referrals from clients, like some that they can basically prove who you are. But you got to be a CFP, and I wasn't a CFP yet. So you know what? I need to be a CFP. I needed to be a CFP, but once I found out I needed to join that program, I got it, which was an experience all on its own, right?
Yeah.
Glad I have it now, right? I think every advisor, after going through the process, I think every advisor should probably be a CFP, just because you pick up some small things that you don't really know or you don't understand before, right? I don't think that they taught me anything on the investment management side or things like that, but they taught me holistic financial planning on like different insurance tricks and just small things like that really make a difference in my practice now that I feel like I can really help people from a more of a holistic level now, being a CFP, coming in, being a fiduciary, right? Helping people with their insurances, their car insurances, their life insurance, their home insurances, their disabilities. I can help with all that stuff if they need it, right? And I feel like my business really took a big turn whenever I stopped selling stuff and started recommending stuff to, hey, go see my buddy down the street and ask for this product for this amount. Like, you need this life insurance, right? It was a big difference in my clientele, how they viewed me. They didn't view me as a salesman anymore. I can tell the difference when you look at somebody, you try to sell them some life insurance, the look they give you is the same look every time. Like, are they trying to screw me here? Like, I know that look. I've seen it. You've probably seen it too, right? It's a different conversation. Where, hey, I'm not getting paid on this. I'm a fiduciary. I don't sell anything. Go talk to Brian and tell him you need this policy. At that point, my business completely changed. Like I viewed myself differently. My clients viewed me differently, and my referrals that I got from my clients exploded. Like I got business after client after referral after referral after referral from clients that I work with now because they trust me. Like I did not understand that I was not being fully trusted before because I was still selling stuff to clients.
Mhm. So you've turned it into a much different revenue stream where folks are coming to you because they know they can trust you, and you have an offering that does not involve selling, which is great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good. Well, good. So you don't manage any money on your own, so you can focus on the clients, and you do financial planning. Tell us a little bit about that. How does the plan serve as the roadmap for clients?
It's goals based. It's really, again, just making sure we pinpoint goals and wishes, where the difference is, and which ones we want to sacrifice for, and which ones we really need to accomplish. We use Fidelity's e-money. I'm sure all you
Mhm.
guys know. I think it's the best software out there. I've used probably 4 or 5 different softwares throughout my career, and e-money seems to be by far the best one we worked with. It's a data aggregator. A lot of my clients like that. They can take it at home. They can manipulate it. They can play with it. They see their assets. They see their assets growing right in real time. So that's been also another good add to my, I guess, quiver, is really just having the e-money in the back pocket, being able to deliver this holistic financial planning, right? Monte Carlo, 1,000 iterations. A lot of my clients at Chevron are engineer minus the Monte Carlo. You say Monte Carlo, you say Monte Carlo around the engineer, and you see them perk up. Like it's like, oh, you're speaking my language now, right? So I really kind of try to say this. I lead with data and math, data
Yeah.
and math, data and math, data and math, right? Because I love all my clients, right? Then naturally, the business that we have, you spend so much time with them. It's very intimate relationship you have sometimes, what they're sharing with you, and vice versa. So as I've gone down that path, I had to be a fiduciary. I've had to use financial planning on how I handle clients because I had to tell them, hey, I love you. Like I love your family. You love my family. We go to each other's birthdays. I need to be able to lean back on something besides my own emotions when I give you recommendations. So we'll use the data, we'll use the math. So that's why we're going to spend so much time in the beginning going through your expenses. And it's different than we used to do it at the banks. Financial planning at the bank was about gathering assets. It was, hey, Mr. Client, how much money do you make a year? Oh, 150,000. Okay, great. All right, well, here's your financial plan. Here's how much money you can spend every year. So, well, damn, you didn't look at anything, right? So I'm line by line, expense by expense, and we're looking in the future, and we're inflating certain expenses. We're not inflating certain expenses. So it's just a very in-depth financial planning process. So then when life changes happen, I'm able to step in with their financial plan and update it real time as these changes start happening at Chevron. Is, hey, here's the change happening. Here's you retiring. Here's you going back to work. Here's the data on the Monte Carlo side, right? And I don't even say anything. I show it to them. Most of the time, the data says it all. Like the red or the green will give you pretty much what you want to get on out of that equation. So it's been very helpful for me being able to always go back to the data and the math part of the recommendation. Like, hey, Brian, I love you. And of course, I want you to retire and move to Jamaica and buy a huge house and boat because I want to come visit you. But that's not the smartest thing for you. Let's look at what the actual planning says. Like, I think you should keep your job or do this or do this. Like, that's been huge for me. It takes a lot of pressure off of me as a person, a very caring person, and it's taking that off of my shoulders and really leaning on the data.
Yes. Well, your passion is very evident, Aaron, and you're an inspiration, I think, to advisors because it's much more than a job. You're really passionate about bringing it to the clients and taking care of them. Um, as we sit here and talk today, about 300 people are going to see this in the near term, maybe the next month, and over the next year, about 1,000 advisors are going to see this. Only financial advisors, most likely. Um, Given your passion and your whole progression into the business, is there any message that you could give to all the financial advisors that are going to watch this interview? A message about the business or about success in life? Is there anything you'd like to share with them? And one key message.
I would shy away from when you first get in the business of calling all your friends and family because that's what they're going to want you to do. Because you're going to get hired by a firm and they're going to look at you and they're like, how do you generate revenue?
Right.
And right, call your uncles, call your dad, call where you knew, I'll call all your centers of influences, right? And you're going to sit down with your centers of influence who are friends of yours right now, and you're going to slide a life insurance policy in front of them. They're going to look at you like, what the hell, Aaron? Like,
Yeah.
really? I thought we were coming here to catch up and you're freaking selling me some bull crap right now. I lost some good relationships early in my career because they knew I wasn't ready, right? I was just hungry. I was doing what I was told from my manager point of view. And I burned some really good relationships where if I hadn't went to those people then, they would probably be my clients now, right? 10 years in the game, being a CFP now, it's a different conversation than I just stopped playing football 6 weeks ago. I think you should give me all your money, right? Kind of conversation. So that's one. I would shy away from taking the easy, low hanging fruit, even though it seems like an easy, low hanging fruit. You're going to cost yourself a lot in the future by taking that right now.
Well, good. Well, that's a great message. Well, thank you, Aaron. You're an inspiration to the industry. You're an inspiration to our brethren. Your passion is there, very clear, and we're just very thankful you joined us today in the Financial Advisor Workshop.
My pleasure.
All right. So we'll leave it there today, folks. We will be back again with another interview for folks who are interested. Aaron Cairns is down in the Woodlands. That's kind of North Houston, right? North of Houston.
Yes, sir.
And he's certainly doing a great job down there for his clients and all the clients at Chevron as well that he's worked with, which is exciting stuff. So thanks, and we'll check in with you again, Aaron, later on. And again, thanks for being with us today on the
Thank you,
workshop.
sir. My pleasure. Appreciate it.
Okay.